What is up, everybody? We have, I think, 13 people in the stream. Already 2 likes. That's setting the bar very low for my entertainment value. So I'm happy that you have such low expectations of me. Who's here from the previous stream? Anybody here watch the previous one? I'm just making small talk at the beginning to figure out if anything's wrong. Someone will tell me in the comments or the chat if I've made a huge mistake, there's no audio, whatever. I don't know. I think there's a delay of 10 seconds or so before my recording goes out. So, hold on. Yeah, I should just double check my audio before I go on. Just give me a sec. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. Last stream, I was experimenting with stuff, right? I didn't really have a direction I wanted to go. I had like some loose ideas. I wanted to like flesh them out, kind of develop them on the fly. Today's gonna be a bit different. Today, I have the puzzle pieces ready, and I want to make a kind of finished product. I have like I think 2 hours, something like that, and I want to get something that actually looks really cool. And I have the proof of concept. So the idea is I'll open Blender. I'll start just like drawing things out, showing you. I also figured out what the crowns mean in the chat. I think that means just it says top fans. I think that's the person who comments the or chats the most, something like that. Okay, so what I want is I want to make imagine a wall, just a concrete wall, something like that. And you have sunlight pouring in from the top. You see like a strip of sunlight, and then the sunlight starts to become liquid and just starts like pouring down the wall. Kind of like the effect I want is like when you have you ever poured milk into coffee, but it's in a glass? So you see like the milk like kind of swirl around in the glass and then it just becomes a homogeneous thing. That's what I want. I want the light to become liquid and pour down the wall. I think it's gonna be really cool. My proof of concept is I have made I made something earlier today. Let me see. Which one was the coolest one? I have two. I'll bring these over to this window. There's so many windows to keep open when I'm streaming. I think it's this one was the coolest one. Here comes the light, and then it turns into liquid, and it starts pouring down. I think this is really cool. I want to make this on just like look good, basically. And I have some more ideas of like ways to complicate this, make it even more interesting. I also have one that's more turbulent in a way. This one here. The difference with this one is I gave it a floor. So here the liquid actually hits the floor and there's pressure there, which kind of swirls it up again, so it's a bit more chaotic. And I'm not sure which one I like best, if I'm honest. I do think they're a bit too fast, both of them. I would like them to go a bit slower. I think that'd be cool. Um, yeah. So my main like inspiration for the aesthetic is gonna be kind of like the thing I showed earlier in the previous one. I'll open that. I think it's under I'm hesitant to show you my entire folder system, which is why I'm doing this on a separate monitor. I don't know how like careful you gotta be with that kind of stuff with live streaming, but I know that like I can't open Google Maps or something because it's gonna zoom right on in on my house. But it's probably under here. Yeah, okay, so I haven't shown you this yet, but the aesthetic is kind of like this. This is one of my black hole renders. Just like a museum look is what I want. I want to compile all of this, all of my weird effects into one thing, so I just want to keep the vibe coherent in a way. But I like the colorful lights of the other one. Yeah, this guy. I like this, and this is basically stolen. This is ripped from another aesthetic that you may know. It's like the Microsoft motion graphics stuff. So Microsoft on Behance. I'll bring this in. So like maybe I don't know, maybe here. They do like the same kind of thing over and over. Maybe they have this too. Uh, Microsoft typography. I just want some really good reference for this. Uh, why is it not coming up? Microsoft 365, maybe? This is kind of it. Yeah, kind of like this, kind of like this. I know there's the typography one that I really like. It's probably in one of my if I go to my profile, I probably have like a mood board of it. This is my work, by the way, back when I used Behance. Tried to do graphic design work back in the day. And I made, it's probably maybe under motion graphics, maybe under style frames, maybe. Yeah, so I don't particularly like this one, if I'm honest. This is kind of like it, like just like sharp, fairly sharp light in from the side, bunch of planes, squares, looks nice. This is it. This is the one I wanted to show you, which has the cool colors and stuff. Am I allowed to show this kind of stuff just on a YouTube stream? I don't know. I'm gonna do it anyway. Is there audio that you can hear? I hope not. No, there's not. That would increase the likelihood of me getting flagged, is all I'm saying. Um, yeah, so this is really cool. I think this is probably made in Houdini, most of this. Yeah, I'll let it just play. It has a really nice vibe. Soon I think it'll move into the interiors. But this is just great art direction from the start. I don't know if I've put this in my newsletter in the inspiration section yet. I probably should. What will you say today? Yeah, it's dramatic. It has piano music, you can imagine that. Here we go. Here's the interior. So this is what I'm replicating. Just like somewhat abstract, somewhat concrete, just square rooms, texturous walls that just like remind you of just being physical, but it's clearly not a real space. Color like this. This is great. This is obviously, this what we just saw. I don't know how to turn back time, but also this actually what we're seeing now. This is clearly extremely similar to what I showed you with the black hole. So it's basically a ripoff. A bunch of these like light splits that I showed in my tips video. Love this, the layout. So basically, I'm gonna steal that. Uh, Do they give me the stills? Yeah, I got the stills right here. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna open Pure Ref. Anyone who doesn't use Pure Ref, everyone uses Pure Ref, right? It's just this software here for stealing stuff, stealing references. Let's drag in the ones that I like the most. Like this here. Can I steal from Behance like this? Yeah, you used to not be able to, I think. Drag that in. I really like this too. Yeah, this is great. I think these are shots that didn't make it into the final. I love that they show that too, just like their R&D. Like when this is your R&D and didn't really make it into the final, you know you have a great product, right? What's gonna be a good reference for this particular shot? Is there anything I can steal? Where like a wall is very central. What are these? The blank ones. Nope. Not really. So I'm gonna have to be creative there. Let's go into Blender. Just start making some stuff. I'm going to need, well, I'm gonna need a wall. Turn it sideways, move it up. And how big is a person? I have the Rigify add-on enabled, which means I have a human biped. Let me just increase the brightness of my monitor, which gives me the size of a human. So I can scale from the 3D cursor and like, how big is my wall gonna be? Fairly big. I want the roof to be up high, kind of like that. Apply the scale and rotation and scale it out. I feel like a wide one would be pretty cool. Something like that. Gonna need a floor. Whoops. Gee, why -1? Should I turn on my screencast keys? I probably should, shouldn't I? Screen... Oh, it's here. Screencast keys. So, can delete my, not that, but my guy. And, you know, there are multiple ways to light this. You know, the version that I just made just had this straight line light. Just went like that. But another thing that could be cool, or I'll save it, you know, I'll save it. I also, thing I liked really about the previous stream was when people gave ideas and like made their own creative decisions and shared them in the chat. That was really fun. So if you try to get chugging on like what would be cool, a cool variant of this shot. I think, what do I want in terms of focal length? What do they do here? They Control P, Control O. I think they have like I think this is a probably an 80 mil, something like that. This might be a 50, maybe less. 50 probably, probably around 50. But I kind of want the wide angle, because what would be cool is if the light hits the wall and then we see all of that. Yeah. Because, okay, so if we see that reflected in the floor, if I have like a glossy looking floor, and that'll kind of help tie it in. What I fear is that it's going to look very plastered on. So I want to do my very best to keep it integrated into the scene. So I'm going to have to make the floor quite a lot bigger. Like that. And the wall, why does it stop at these points? Probably because there are like pillars, or is there just like a wall here? Like that? That can be... It's nice geometry, I think. And here is... You can go the other way, maybe. Going in like that, and then around. And then I can have another layer in front of it. Maybe aligned with that wall. So turn on snapping, face snapping, GY, snap to that face. And then I can close that. Just give me something to work with. And the ceiling, that's going to be very crucial for the effect. I'm gonna have to invert the normal, Shift N, inside, and turn on back facing, or cull back facing? Back face culling, so I can see through it. And did I want a wider angle? 30, and then bring it in a bit? Just to enhance the perspective? Yes, I did. And maybe bring it down towards the floor, looking up. Like that. I can turn this into a rendered view. Go into my world and let's make it just dark black, and use a sun object, I think. But yeah, so let's cut out what I need from here. So I need, do I want this aligned with the wall? Yeah, sure. Like that. And align that part with that. Makes sense to align everything, doesn't it? Is it snapping to faces? Yeah, not vertices. There we go. Oh yeah, few more people in here. I can go through the plan again. There were just like around 10 people when I explained the plan. Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to cast light onto a wall and turn it into a liquid. That's what I'm doing. And it's going to, yeah, these references here, kind of the aesthetic, and this is the proof of concept. So imagine this, but it's light on a wall. That's what I want. It's going to look really cool. Now, I think one thing I really need for that to work is I need the wall to be textured. I don't want it to be just like a white plaster wall. I think because it's really important for it not to feel like just that video I showed you plastered or projected onto the wall, right? It needs to feel like the light is lighting it. So I want it to I want the light to affect the scene. I want it to be reflected off the floor. Yeah. So, okay. Delete that face and add a sunlight. There we go. Turn it towards the wall. And something like that. Yeah? Yeah, something like that. Oh, that's a problem, isn't it? Okay. First off, let's extrude all of these faces up to block the sun. Shift N, make them inside. There we go. That's the basic render. What I didn't expect or didn't anticipate was how the light hits this left side here. I can draw on it. There we go. This side here. I think I don't want that because that would have to be liquid too. I don't know how it would like feel if it wrapped around. Let's just bring that back. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Bring it out. And then I can kind of clamp it, I think. Clamp the lighting. Just remove it from that part. Would be cool to have like this a sliding window gradually revealing it. Either that way or the other way. Or do we want to keep it in the way that I first made it, where it's just like that? I'm not sure. But I will have to block that left part, I think. Yeah, that's okay. I don't want to see too much of the sky, if I'm honest. Currently, you see quite a bit of the sky, and I can see exactly how much by just adding an Ishida. Not a noise. Sky texture? Yeah, it's called a sky texture without a sun disk. Like you're seeing quite a bit of the sky. So one way to get rid of that is to just increase the focal length and moving back the camera outside the wall this time. Hold on, delete that face. So that's maybe better. Yeah, because I don't want to see the sky. How would it look if the wall went up? Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. Turn off the glare. Just gonna have to complete this. Closing it all in. Okay, pretty good start. Now, one thing that I thought would be kind of cool is also if that simulation reacted to something on the wall. Like maybe I had a pillar that it would hit against, or it might. What if it poured out onto the floor? That would also be really cool. Ooh. How would I do that? Okay, that's step two. That's step two. First proof of concept. Let's stick to this. Let's bring in some basic materials. Do I have an asset browser that's gonna work for this now, or do I have to copy in? Let's see. I do have one of PBR materials. I don't know if they're optimized for Blender. I imported these from 3ds Max like ages ago. Like a concrete. Do I not have? I think I have one that's called like soft. No, polished. Concrete polished matte. I think that's the one I want. Or no, moire polished. That's the texture. Yeah, this is the one. It's a pretty nice looking texture. Let's go into, I think I have a better version of it though. Because this is just, yeah, this is not treated at all. I'll copy it in from another file. Away with this. Copy in a floor here. This guy. Where I've just made some changes to make it more varied, basically. You know, another thing that I could do to make us see the top less is to move it up and point it down. That's not a very common way of framing your shots. Because it's not that cool, is it? No, it's not. Let's just place it close to the ground like this. How big is this texture? Is it using object coordinates? It is. And it has this mapping. So, is it this slider here? Yeah, this is the main one. Roughly that big. And then little tiles there. That's probably the other one. Those are fine. Okay, that's okay for the floor for now. The sun is gonna be... It's gonna have to be a lot brighter. I can't see the chat the way I have it set up now. Hold on. Gotta make this bigger. So I can see your text. Here we go. Yeah, pillars, statues, that could be cool. That could be cool. Okay, stronger sun. Quite a bit stronger. And then turn on my glare so I can really tell how strong it is. Okay, that's like fine. I do want it to cast light onto the scene though. I want to be able to see the effect of the global illumination. So maybe move that back. What would I have to do? I can just do the proof of concept first, can't I? Yeah, I'll set it up first and then I can mess with the aesthetics later. So I'm gonna have to separate out just the wall, just the relevant wall. And then I feel like you guys wanted it to slide in, and I kind of agree. Let's bring in a sliding plane that hides it, hides the opening. Moves out of the way like this. So what direction then? Does it reveal from left to right like this, or from right to left? I feel like maybe right to left. It could break the simulation, but it might be cool if it doesn't. Let's try both. I'll try exporting both. The way we make this drive a simulation, I'm going to simulate in just another file. I'm just going to render this out. Meaning I'm going to have to turn off my post-processing, turn off the compositor so I don't get the glare contaminating it. And I'm going to have to render it out with an orthographic camera. That's just pointing straight at the wall. Set it to orthographic. Turn down or up the orthographic scale. First gonna have to figure out, yeah, the width. So I'm gonna have to match up the width with the wall. And then work out the height with the dimensions. Like that. And then find a good angle for the sun. What should be the angle? I feel like the effect is cooler if there's very little light. I feel like it was very easy to overwhelm the simulation with just more white. So I think this is gonna be good. I'm gonna need no sky, just like black and white, pure black and white like this. And let's animate it. Let's try that first. K for location keyframe. And then how slow? Pretty slow, right? Left to right looks better? Okay. Well, if you say so, cursed moth. Okay, location. Linear keyframes, I think. V vector. Yeah, that's cool. Even slower though. Let's use the full 250 frames. That's good. And then render that out to, I'll make a desktop folder for this. Stream, liquid, light, it's gonna be called. and add a render folder. So wall light version 1. Three hashtags for the file number. Do you guys remember the file output format? We do, oh, I should increase the size of my, whoops. I should increase the size of my interface, shouldn't I? Interface, size, 2. So it's easier to see on stream. People are probably watching on their phones. Are you? We're gonna do an EXR RGB half float DWAB 60% quality. I really should make this default by now. Color management, linear rec 2020. Let's render this out with denoising and just like 50 samples. Probably gonna be enough for each frame. See how fast it renders. It was pretty slow at rendering last time I was streaming. And actually, I should have thought more before doing this. I think 50 is a bit overkill, if I'm being honest. I think probably 20. The simulation is going to use geometry nodes, and the geometry node simulation system, I think, uses the CPU quite heavily. So it's going to possibly crash the stream once I start simulating. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that. If the screen just becomes black and I'm gone, or my audio cuts out or something, write it in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye out for it. And currently it's rendering fairly fast. Okay, so let's start setting up the simulation system. The simulation system uses it's a geometry node system built by a friend of mine, Albus, and he recently made it just free online. So Albus Gumroad. This guy here, he's a geometry nodes genius. And the system that I'm going to use is this, the 2D Pyro solver. It says Pyro, but it's all fluids in the end. This is really useful for making just like liquid-esque sims. It's super quick because it's simulating just on a 2D plane, so it's quicker than the built-in 3D volume stuff. And it's 2D, so you get like really interesting. Things aren't allowed to flow over each other in 3D. It's great. It's free now. Download it, use it. It's great. So I'm going to open up a new file. I can close the one I opened just for copying over the material. And I'm going to bring in the wall. So copy that wall and bring it into a new file. How many things can my computer do at once? Stream, render, and simulate Pyro? Yes. Surely, right? Surely. What are the dimensions here? The dimensions are roughly 8 by 4, which is the same as 2 by 1. That's going to make things a lot easier. So I don't need it, actually. Let's go to File, Append, and I'm going to navigate around without you being able to see, sorry, to where I have downloaded the Pyro solver. So here it is, the Pyro solver, into node tree, and just import all of it. And then just add a geometry nodes setup. This reset my interface size again. There you go. Who says I don't take care of my community? I don't. Let's add a PS Pyro solver. Like that. That's my Pyro solver. The Pyro solver, how does it work again? Let's change the size. So the size X is going to be twice that of size Y. And I can preview the density, not in the group output, but if I Control-Shift left-click, brings up a viewer, and then preview the density in here. Density is the attribute that basically looks like smoke. And then I need a source for it, and the source will be a texture coordinate, an image texture in just a second once I've exported it. It's going to be this. I'm going to use that as the source. But for now, let's just make a similar one using just a cube. So bring that over, add some shape keys, 2 shape keys to that, and bring it down like that and animate between them. So I now have a slider that does that same movement. I'm gonna make a keyframe for that, go to frame 250, like so. So now it moves, but let's make it linear. Something like that, roughly. That's roughly what I had earlier. And then add a PS object, Pyro object, select that object, and turn it off in the viewport. And the render. So now I think if I make this object drive the density, there we go. And if I go to the start and play it, that's roughly a good start. Let's make the grid size quite a bit smaller. The grid size is huge right now. These are the grids, so let's go to 0.05, maybe? I don't know. Does that look better? I feel like it starts too slow, doesn't it? Like, I need to bring this down so it starts immediately, just for testing purposes. There we go. Even smaller, 0.01. Now it starts to chug. Now I'm on 6 FPS. Okay, that's way too small. 0.04. Okay, that's okay. Then I need something to happen to this smoke. So one thing I can do is I can go to my boundaries and I can close them. So now all the smoke hits up against the boundaries, and if there's movement, then there's going to be pressure buildup, and it's going to make vortices and weird, interesting stuff. Enforce that border. It's probably not going to do anything yet, but what's going to be interesting is if I start giving negative buoyancy to this volume here. Oh man, Ben donating. Thanks for doing this. I'll learn a lot thanks to you. Sometimes comment on your Substack, nickname Ben. Yeah, I recognize you from the Substack. Keep up the wonderful work. I'm with you. Thank you so much, man. So, if I give negative buoyancy to the smoke, then it's going to fall down and it's going to replace the cool air beneath it. So, I need, under forces, I need a buoyancy force. And it's not going to be based on temperature, it's going to be based on density. And the direction is going to be -1 on the y. So density buoyancy is going to be 1, I guess, maybe? Start with 1. Is anything going to happen quite yet? Yes, it is. So it starts breaking up and falling down, and once there's unevenness, it all just like collapses. Pretty cool. This is very similar to what I want. Let's go up to the time steps and just, or turn down the time scale, so it's a lot slower. So the simulation is 0.1 fast, so just 10 times slower. It's going to make it feel a lot more viscous, I think. Is it going to do anything at all? I don't think it has time to. Let's give it 500 frames. And also, give it possibly a little bit of turbulence just to get it started. Just a tiny bit of turbulence. Let's see what the default is. Default 110.1. Is that going to be too much? It's probably going to be too much. No, nothing's really happening. And there it starts to go as it like pools up on the left and gets heavier. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's nice. That's pretty cool. Let's also give it some drag. The only reason I'm giving it drag is because Albus said so in his release video, as drag makes it look more like liquid. I think it's probably because every cell like drags the ones around it with it a little bit. I don't know, probably. Sounds like it from the word. And it does kind of look like that, but I do want it to break up more like along the side. Which means, does my frame rate match the actual frame rate? No, it doesn't. Okay, let's set the frame rate of the scene to 25 as well. And do I need anything else? Do I need like temperature? I don't, I think. Did I lock all the borders? I did. So let's maybe not lock the negative Y side so it can pour out the bottom of the frame. And just speed it up, just for preview purposes. So twice as fast. See, now we're getting somewhere. Look at that. Should be a little bit... Should my cells be smaller? They probably should, shouldn't they? Ooh, check that out. Oh, that's so cool. I freaking love this setup. The fact that it's free, Albus, you're a legend. I was also thinking, like, should I give the light velocity? Because you know that the light is coming from the right and going leftward. Would it be cool to, like, add that velocity to the light? I mean, it's going to be very easy to try. Let's try it. So the initial velocity is going to be -1 on x and probably like -0.3 on y, something like that. See if that makes like a cool difference. Everything should be moving a bit leftward now, initially. It does. And my drawing shows up at a random point. View. Annotations. Turn that off. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's try making that a bit more high res and just baking it. Just to see what it looks like in high res. It's gonna have a lot more detail and stuff. So slower, 0.1. Point separation, that's the size of the cells. 0.01 as well. That's gonna be, oh, that's quite a bit smaller. That's gonna be fine. Then add a bake node. I'm gonna bake an animation and bake this geometry right here. And press bake. That's just going to run through all the 500. It's going to cache it to the local blend file. Is that a bad idea? Should I be caching to my drive because of the risk of everything crashing? Probably should have. That's fine. That's fine. Is my other thing done rendering? It is. So how am I going to bring this in then? Oh, I wanted to render the other direction as well to see which one looked cooler. Let's just do that. So this one was sliding from right to left. Let's just invert the keyframes. Bring it over like that. So now that doesn't work. I'm gonna have to reanimate it. So we start here actually. Set a keyframe on the X location, and at the end, it's open like that. Let's call that version 2. How big am I rendering? Too big. I did not have to render that big for the simulation source. Let's go 50% of that. Jesus Christ. That's gonna be faster. And this is my simulation, all done. Is it gonna play back in real time? That would be fun. Yeah, it does. You should add the info on the low bar in the preferences. Memory usage, VRAM usage. How do I do that? Is that in the Blender preferences? Under interface, maybe? Where do I find that? Does anybody know? System? Is it in Blender at all, or is that something I would need like an external program for? I'm gonna wait for someone to tell me how to do that. Yeah, let's see the finished simulation. Do I just like the look of it? Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I feel like maybe the turbulence is too high. Like maybe there's a bit too much force just coming out of nowhere. I really like the start when it's breaking up, but I don't quite like how fast it goes at the end. Maybe I can slow it down. Right click on a bar. Interface status bar. Right click down here. Scene statistics, scene duration system. Oh, cool. Okay. I'll turn on all of this for you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe not scene statistics. System memory? Like this? Is this what you want to see? Okay, check everything. Sure. Sure thing. Oh, this is actually nice, yeah. For tutorials and stuff. All right. Why not? Why not have the information? Let's turn down the turbulence. So maybe the strength just to 0.5 and the speed to 0.07, something like that. Do I want the swirls to be a little bit bigger? Maybe 15. Bake that again. It's fairly fast. For like 500 frames. He also like recently optimized it, so it's a lot faster than previously. Okay, is this done? Yes, it is. So now I can actually start driving the simulation using that. But while it's caching out, let's go back and work on just the aesthetics of the scene. So I think I probably want some ambient light coming in. Maybe I can use the sky texture. The wall itself, let's stick to one idea at a time. Uh, I'll just increase the That's so bright. Like you can't see anything else. I'm definitely gonna have to have a backstop up here. Something like that. And maybe just add a custom area light for the fill. Just some blue. It's a nice sky blue. Like that. Power up. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And the sunlight should be a little warm. Maybe 5000 K? It's a bit too contrasty. I would like more ambient light inside as well. Maybe a blue light could be cool. This is where my references come in, don't they? Here are the references. Yeah, like here, just like an ambient blue light. The sunlight could be a bit softer, maybe. No, let's keep it like that. That's what I have rendered out. What happens if I just stick a blue light in here? Is that gonna be cool? Is that gonna be weird? Dorky? It's fine. I'm gonna turn on Passpart 2 in the camera. Ducky3D has a video for that. He makes a kind of walls with a material with light pass mixture, 2 emissions, 1 for environment, 1 for camera. Oh, do you mean for not showing the sky in camera? Yeah. No, that's easy, but you know, I don't want it to I don't want you to be able to see it and it not making sense either, right? So I don't really want to fake it this time. Viewport display, Passpart 2 up, so I can see exactly what I'm actually rendering. It's not great looking at the moment, but you know, it's still start of the project. Saturation down. Okay, that's fine. I'll go in and I'll turn down the glare. Glare's a bit much. Okay, this I think is a good start. You know what I should have done? I should have kept the original plane as well. The plane that was animated the other direction, because now it's gonna be kind of hard to like match it up. So let's do that one first. Is it done simulating yet? Yes, it is. See if I like this. If I do, I'm gonna upres it one more time. And then export. Because you can still kind of see the individual cells. I do like it. I do like it. What I did in my test is I made some areas of the smoke more buoyant than others. So it would break up a bit quicker, but I kind of like what it's doing. But what feels kind of weird is that it's escaping down the bottom. Doesn't that feel a little bit weird if there's going to be a floor there? If it does, it would have to spill off onto the floor, wouldn't it? I think it would. I think it would. So, let's make the density buoyancy not that extreme. Let's have it so it doesn't go as fast down. Delete the bake. Grow the cell size. And maybe just add some variation. Yeah, let's add some variation to the buoyancy. I can't do that with the current setup, can I? I don't think so, actually. Okay, that's fine. Let's try resimulating now. See if that made a big difference. I think it possibly would have. What's that node group? What this? The Pyro solver? This is from Albus on Gumroad. It's free. It's amazing. Looks absolutely great. This needs for sure more turbulence. Maybe like that. And Albus too, he has a Patreon that is really worth subscribing to. It's one of, I think, just 2 Patreon accounts that I subscribe to. His and Ian Hubert. Ooh, this is so cool. Okay, I really like the motion now. That actually looks really nice. That looks like soft, flowy. Yeah. Okay, let's try closing down the floor. See if that works. This, by the way, this is really good for just making like smoke cards. You often don't need like a 3D smoke sim. It's also really good for liquids, for like pouring things into other things. Because you can wrap this around a cylinder as well, right? Yeah, because look at that. Now it hits the floor, and that's gonna work better, I think, with my current scene. It's gonna look nicer for it just not to like drop off the just into the corner and then just disappear. I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this. Let's try using the texture as an input. So, search for an image texture. Can I do an image sequence inside geometry nodes? I think so. Let's go for, where did I save it? Desktop. And the stream liquid light. And under version 1, I have both versions. Great. Search for VO2. And select everything. So how does that map onto everything? Probably not great, right? Yeah, I can't see anything. How would we have to do that? We would have to map the position and map range from probably, how wide was this? From -2 to +2 and -1 to +1. And plug that into the vector. I've never worked with image texture inside geometry nodes first. Is this not how you do it? To show it on, yeah, on the Pyro grid. How do I map this? Do I have to unwrap it somehow? I don't think so. Oh, it was something was wrong with the sequence. Okay, so it is working. But maybe it's the sorting. Like that? Frame 0, frame 1. Oh, there we go. I have to choose the frame. Cool. Okay, so that's gonna be scene, time, frame into there. Yeah. Cool. It saved out. Oh, there was. God damn it. Look at this. There's contamination. It's probably not gonna make a huge difference though. Let's try using that as the density input. Just as it is. Do you guys think that's gonna work? Just plugging it in, or am I gonna have problems now? I think it's gonna work. Okay. It is. It's doing it. But now, as it gets to the scene end, which was, what, 250 frames, probably? Yeah, then it repeats, right? Or is that, no, that's the edge extensions. So it does not repeat. Meaning that at the end, when it's done, it stops adding light. That may be what I want, actually. For it to just stop adding light, because that kept that streak. But currently, it's not going to keep it. Like, it's going to get to the very end, and then it just disappears. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, lovely. Let's bring up the, or down the point separation. 0.01 or 0.005. Let's go high res. Real high res, add a bake. And this time I'll cache it to my drive instead. Cache the whole animation, and under the modifier settings, I can bake it to that here, cache, in the project folder. There we go, to disk. Let's save it. That's something I hadn't done yet. Go to my desktop. Here we go. The Pyro solver. And bake. How fast is it? This is going to be done pretty quick. Let's work on this then. I want there to be more bounce lighting. I want this thing to show up more. Let's maybe find a different angle. How's that? So maybe something more like that, or the other way, because I don't want to see that light on the far wall, because that's not going to be drooping. Maybe the other way. Bring it in here. Maybe delete that wall. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It would be cool to maybe be fairly close and look up, but I don't want to see the sky, really. And here I am. This would need a solidify to look nice. The ceiling, that is. Something like that. I'm kind of forced to look this way. Meaning I can't have anything that the light hits there. I'm gonna have to change the geometry over there, don't I? Viewport display on this wireframe, so I can click through it. And what's that gonna be? If I bring that back, it doesn't really help. Or if I bring it far enough, it will. Okay, that's not awful, honestly. That's fine. And then the other wall, this guy, can that be angled? Like that? Is that dumb? That's kind of dumb. That's better. Then I need it to reflect off something on the backside. That's what I need. Here. Is that going to show up now? As bounce lighting? Not really. Also, here's another thing I didn't consider. Is I didn't consider that I'm only simulating this wall and I'm not simulating whatever's above it. So all of this is going to look kind of strange. I'm gonna have to rethink that as well. That would have to be, I think I can solve that by just saying there's a courtyard up there and that wall is way behind. More like that. That'll make sense with all the textures as well. I think that's fine. Like, yeah, cool. Let's find a texture for this wall. I don't want, as I said, I don't want just plaster, just white plaster. I want there to be a real texture that you see isn't shifting with the simulation. Maybe go to textures.com. They're pretty good. Or I didn't make one that I published on my Patreon. Maybe I can bring that in. Is it in my asset browser? Under architecture? Yeah, it's supposed to be here, I think. Oh, I shouldn't have searched. Is this is just broken up. That's what that looks like. Not great, honestly. It's obviously warped. Maybe if I UV unwrap it. Like find somewhere on it that looks good. I shared this on the Patreon, by the way, if you want to check it out for yourself. Like maybe if I line this up with the panels, does that look good? It's not great. It's not terrible either. It'll do for now. It'll do for the proof of concept. Yeah, it'll do. It'll do. And maybe, I could have these be physics objects, these lamps that are embedded. And those, could be actually 3D modeled. And then I could have those react with the smoke so that it like twirls around them and stuff. That's as easy as just adding it as a collision object in the Pyro solver. That would be kind of cool. Let's try that. Do you guys find this funny? I tried like going to, or wait, yeah, you can like go to set the current object as a camera, but I had the wall selected, so now it's like, yeah, let's make the wall a camera. Thank you, Blender. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, let's add this back in then. So let's go back into the Pyro solver. It's probably done now with a high-res sim. And what does it look like? It's actually playing back real time now too. So this isn't great, like the compression at the start, but I can clamp all that away. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like, yeah, compression artifacts. Or bit depth artifacts, more like. Yeah, so there it starts pouring. And ooh, look at that as it starts breaking up. Oh, I love it. I'm happy with that sim. Let's render that out. With just an orthographic camera. Bring it up. Like, I need to transfer it to a material. Because what I had was just a preview of the attribute. That's what this was. But I need to transfer that to a material. And the way to do that is to first set material. To make sure we put a material on it. That's just going to be this. Just a basic material. And then we need to output the attribute. So it's the density we're going to use. Just plug it into the group output. And then under outputs, I have to call this something for the rest of Blender to refer to. So density makes sense. Then in the shader editor, we can add an attribute node called that same thing, density. And now we have access to that in the shader. So like that, turn to shaded mode. Yeah, it's there. So into the camera, render out a 1920 by whatever 1920 is divided by 2. Check the orthographic scale to zoom right in on that. And I'll render with just Eevee. Don't need shadows, don't need motion blur, don't need more than like 2 samples. And then save that to the project file, or the project folder rather. In here, that's the advected light version 1. That's what I do. That's what this is. It's, I'm advecting How do I describe advecting? You take one piece of data, like the image sequence that I rendered out, and then you move it based on something else. That's advecting, basically. Advected light version 1. 3 hashtags, .exr. Gonna do same settings as previously. And let's go. So now it's a matter of syncing that up with... Oh, one more thing actually. I should turn off post-processing here, because I probably have like a glare node built in. Yeah, this would have to sync up with the rest of the scene, and then it should probably feel like it's embedded fairly well. Although, you know, what we're seeing here is not how light typically works. It like looks softer than light often does, but I think people will forgive that. Man, I really like this sim. How are you guys doing? It's Sunday. Back to work tomorrow, eh? I'm recovering from being ill. I had a lingering cold that just it started roughly at my last stream, and then I've been in bed ever since. But I had so much fun streaming. I just wanted to get back to it. It was really fun. I really like when you guys come up with ideas and solutions in the chat. Here's a problem. I didn't append the material, so I can't modify it. I always struggle with this. Is it as simple as just... Yeah, clicking there. Now it's real. That was easy. It's harder with models. You never know, like with rigs and stuff. I don't know. Let's bring it in as an image sequence. Image sequence. Bring in that same thing. Advected light. Sort by name. Import it. We have 500 frames. Let's not put it there. Whoops. I make more like fumbling mistakes when I'm streaming. Let's go to 500. Here too. Set it to flat linear image sequence. Auto refresh. Makes it work better in the viewport often. With light, we want to replace the current light that's on here. And to do that, this would have to be not a principled BSDF, but an emissive. So I remove the base color from the base color, and I put it into emission instead. Set it to emit 1. Now it's emitting everywhere. The base color should be black, so it's not receiving the current light in the scene. Just flat, like this. And then I multiply it with the light that I've simulated, which should map cleanly on, I think. It doesn't. So let's do something about that. I'm gonna have to probably give it a new UV map then. UV map. Yeah, because I unwrapped it differently for the other stuff. Okay. I'm gonna give it a second UV map then. For sim or projection. Doesn't have to be a sim. Open up a new UV editor. It's just gonna have to cover the whole 1x1 UV space. Is there a good way of doing that without eyeballing it? Just like filling the UV space? I don't know about that. I don't know. Probably from the front, U and project from view bounds? Yeah, that does it. Okay, cool. So that's that. Man, I think I might actually be able to do this within the allotted time. We have 45 more minutes. Kind of getting there. I have more time for experimentation then. Cool. It has to multiply. First I gotta give it a color. So I can sample the color that I have up here. Mix color. Sample that. Hey Sam, how you doing? Just enjoying work on a Sunday afternoon. So the value to 1. And just multiply that over this. So that gives it that color. And then we can boost it later, you know. Probably with an exposure. Or brightness, just a multiply. We can just multiply it as in linear color. Constraint to image bounds. Is that like an unwrap? Oh, is it in the UV editor? That makes sense. And then let's multiply what used to be the base color by that. So mix color, multiply. There we go. And then I'm going to have to boost it. Possibly with a... Oh, that's right. Now it's completely black in here. It doesn't get the ambient light. I'm probably going to have to mix between some different stuff then. But let's fix this first. So mix color. Probably multiple ways of doing this, but like inputting just like 10 here. It's going to make it emissive. Kind of like the light outside, right? And then as I play it now... Oh, well, I got some stacking of the effects. Did I use the wrong input for the simulation? Oh, I did. I used the wrong one. But it looks kind of cool though. Okay, let's work with the shaders. Now that I'm here. I would need to mix between a shader that receives the ambient lighting and this one. So instead of multiplying it in here, or I should multiply it in there probably, and then just mix in the original. Not with an emissive, but just as a diffuse. This. Mix that in wherever this is not. Maybe control that with a ramp too. I'm now getting into an area where I haven't really experimented much, so it might not work very well. Let's see. Probably switch the inputs. Or wait. This is where I want that. Yeah. Meaning that where this is black, we should be seeing this. But we are not. Why? That's a bit confusing. Is that me bugging or Cycles bugging? You know, it's most likely me. Where? Oh, that's common with a node wrangler. Just like the alpha output of a color ramp. Super easy mistake to make. So okay, use the wrong sequence, but we can redo that, and then it's gonna pour out like that. Yeah, that looks cool. I like that. You know, as a proof of concept, currently we're stacking the effects a bit much. So you're seeing both the actual real light and the simulated light. So it's kind of stacking in a weird way right here. Look at that. That looks really wonky. So actually, I would have to make a light link, I think, where that wall doesn't receive the real light since I already have that baked in, right? Let's do some light linking. Oh man, I'm never solid on light linking. I'm going to make a video on it just to like make myself understand it better. Where's my sun? Here it is. So light linking, how's it done? Something in the object settings, relations, shading, yeah, light linking, and then I make a new light linking group using just the wall, I think. Light linking for that, and then I put the sun in there? Or is it the other way around? Yeah, I think maybe it's the other way around. So I press the sun, go to light linking, and then pin this window, then press the wall and drag that in. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then turn that off. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Sorry. Still a little bit stuffy. I'm gonna take a super quick break in just a sec to blow my nose. But yeah, that was it. So just light linking that away from the wall so that it isn't affected by the real light anymore, like it was. It's now excluded from that, but the real light is lighting up everything else. So that's pretty cool. So now it's not stacking. However, I think what we still want is... Actually, is it fine now? Do I not need anything else? Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go fix my voice, and in just a second, I'm gonna recombine everything and use the correct bake to make everything like cohere a bit better, and then maybe use the rest of the time just to, like refine this composition, just make this cool. Now that I have it like kind of working. Yeah, let's do that. You guys chat to each other in the meanwhile. Okay. Hey, Futark's in the house. What's up, man? So, what I don't like about this, I don't like how it's colliding with the left side of the wall, even though there's nothing there. It feels like it shouldn't be like colliding with anything there. What would it do? Like what? I'm not sure. Maybe it would have to like flow over. Maybe I should open up that wall so just to like hint at it flowing over to the other side? Maybe. Also, I don't like it cutting off at the top. I feel like that's kind of dumb. Unless you can like really tell that the wall ends there, which you can't at the moment. It's just white. That's something I don't quite like. I'm getting a security notification from YouTube. Hold on. It's saying it's saying I have to verify that I'm me. Is the stream still going? I think it is. Hold on. Let me do this thing. It'll be quick, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe use a gobo. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, just having like some texture in the light. That would be nice actually. I think that'd be cool. And but let's use the correct image sequence. I think that's like the first most crucial step. Cause let's just see. Did I use the wrong one? Look here. Look at the image whoops. Preview the Pyro solver with the image sequence, and it's yeah, it's just this one. Boring. So I'll bring in yeah version 1. Let's go for version 2. I thought I searched for version 2. Sort by name, going from bottom to top. Open. So that's the right one, which like opens up with a sliver. I'm not sure how it's gonna affect the simulation really. Let's try it out. Delete the bake. I can just delete the bake. That's there, and go for 0.02 size. Let's see. What do you like think's gonna happen? Like with first the tiny sliver? Nothing? Wait, what? Obviously, because I'm not previewing the density. Dummy. Try that again. I think the little sliver is gonna break up immediately. It doesn't have like enough integrity. Oh no, but it doesn't have velocity either. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That it like starts out fairly solid. What happens if I open up the left wall like I said? I think most of it's gonna escape, because I do have that velocity going leftwards. Maybe turn that off then. I think so. Or do I? No, I turned that off actually. The only reason everything's moving leftward is because that's where the most density is, probably. So it's pulling everything with a vacuum. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice looking. Does it not really start until 250? No, it does. It starts before then. Now it feels like it's kind of blowing in the wind. I really like that. Like, it can't really get bad results with this. What was the size I used in the end? 0.005? Was that it? Is that like a reasonable bake speed? Yeah, it is. So let's work on the composition here. I feel like almost scrapping what I have. I'm not happy with the wall texture either. Did I ever check out textures.com? I didn't. Let's look for a concrete wall. Concrete. Wait, what? Maybe go to the concrete category then. And then I don't want just a PBR material like this. I want a picture that looks like a real wall, not a tileable material. So regular photos. Yeah, like these. Like these. A bare bunker wall, concrete new. Concrete new, yeah. Ooh. Is this good or what? This I feel like is exactly what I want. Do I have any credits? Let's bring this to the side as I log in and figure out if I have any credits. Typing in my master password twice. I don't. I do not. Let's get some then. Or can I just... You know what? I'll show you a technique I use for just finding fun stuff like this for free. Flickr CC0. So this is Creative Commons. It's free for any use. If it's CC BY, then I have to tell you who it's from. That's fine. And I can search for a concrete wall. And people just take pictures of concrete walls, man. I don't know what to tell you. This is pretty cool. Is it now filtered by CC0? Search filters. Here we go. Whoops. All Creative Commons. Don't want to tread on anybody's toes. So this is the one I used as a basis for the one that's currently there. And it's not terrible, but it's not perfect either. As you sort by CC0, less good options start showing up, don't they? Something like this, something like that. Maybe concrete panels. And you can perspective map these, so you don't have to have them photographed like straight on. This is fine. Continue without supporting. I'm cheap. Yeah, not getting anything great here. Let's just try some of the materials I have stored. In my asset browser, PBR materials, concrete, something fun maybe, panels. That's okay. Don't love it. It has to have some like paneling, I feel like. No, I don't have anything better like immediately than what I just used. Let's keep that. Go back into my simulation and see what I have. How's this? It's slow because I'm not viewing the bake. Is that why? Let's just show the bake. It's black. Cool. Density is there. And in the bake too. Okay, fine. Here it is. Not playing in real time. But that means we get to watch it in slow motion. Ooh. We get some eddies. Quite a few of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Should we just overwrite what we have? Yeah, why not? Overwrite the current image sequence. And while it's rendering, let's go back here. I feel like the floor can be more glossy. What do I have here? Can I just gamma the roughness? Would that be up or down? Up, to make it more glossy. Yeah, I want it to reflect more, so it feels more integrated into the world. That's nice. And more ambient light, I think, as well. Maybe a red light, too. Coming from the other direction. Maybe like that? Hello, Vamban. Welcome to the stream. Red light's kind of dorky. It's very strong. Don't love it. Don't love it. No, I feel like blue. Just a blue accent is the way to go here. Strong blue, though. Okay. And then we can update the image sequence, because it's done rendering, isn't it? Yeah. And we're probably gonna have to turn off and on the render to update it, I would guess. Thank you for the 30 tricks video, really helpful and insightful. Thank you for watching it. Use layer weight for a progressive roughness on the ground, the lower the angle, shinier. True. That's actually a very good point. Yeah, there's an old trick you used to use, like back in the days before PBR. This does simulate a real effect, which is partly simulated by the render engine itself, so you're kind of doubling it up. But for artistic effect, it's fine, and you're actually also simulating some stuff that the render engine isn't simulating by default. Also, I have to say this because I feel like nobody knows this. When you go into the principled BSDF, how many people know what this slider is for? The diffuse roughness slider. Does anybody know? It's for a pretty similar thing to what Ben is talking about. Let's have a tangent about this. Can I draw in here? Is that possible? Yes, I can. Okay. So this is from microfacet theory. It's what we are simulating using the roughness, bump, and displacement sliders. So if you have a surface that's just a circle and you kind of want it to you want to see the bumps like that instead. Can I use multiple colors for this? That'll make it a lot easier to understand. There we go, color number 2. So you want you want to see variation in the silhouette. For that, you use displacement. But then you want to see some smaller details that don't really affect the silhouette. What do you use? You use bump, right? So I can represent bump like this. So even smaller bumps in that surface, those are just bump or normal, right? We used to call it bump. It's more common to call it normals now. And then you have even smaller bumps than that. What am I talking about there? So those will be that color, like super tiny, tiny little bumps. That's roughness. Roughness in a surface is just little bumps. And that is why if you add a bumpy normal map to a surface and then you just zoom way out and look at it from afar, it'll do the same thing as roughness does. You can make roughness using just bump if it's small enough. But let's say we zoom in on this illustration here and you see like all the little bumps like that. This is zoomed in. And then let's imagine you are a light ray that is yellow. So you are coming in here and you're hitting the surface right here. And let's say the camera is over here, just watching it. The diffused color of this surface is what you see, right? So it's light is reflected off here, it's hitting the camera, you're seeing that light. But are you seeing the light that's hitting here? That goes over here and it hits this tiny little surface here. So it's hidden. It's hidden by super, super tiny little imperfections. And that is what is simulated, whoops, delete all this, with the diffuse roughness slider. So the diffuse roughness slider is occluding stuff that's at a grazing angle because tiny little rays are hidden by tiny little bumps. Meaning, basically, this should be the exact same as the roughness slider. That's the end of it. So you have whatever you plug into roughness, you also should plug into here, and that'll improve the simulation ever so slightly. The effect is basically for the rougher the surface, the darker it's going to be towards the edges, like a Fresnel effect. Looks better. That aside, did this update? Let's see. Play it through. Starts. Ooh, yes! Yes! Check that out. It works. My God. I was optimistic about this stream, but I didn't think it was actually going to really work. Not really. I also, and so this diffuse slider is basically just cutting some light. Yeah, it's making it darker, basically, at grazing angles where it's rough. I don't think I need the current shader setup anymore. I think I replicated that with the light linking. So I think I can just use the top one. No, I can't. I can use the bottom one. Right, I can use the bottom one if I also plug in the emission. Yes. How bright? How bright should this be? Like it should kind of match what we're seeing up there, shouldn't it? Kind of like that. Pretty nice. Yeah, I'm happy with this. You know what it kind of feels like is there's a projector over on the left. Uh Projecting light onto the wall. And the reason I think it feels like that is because we can't see the light anywhere else. There's no evidence that the light is pouring in from the skylight. Uh Shori Singh, welcome to the stream. This is not Unreal Engine, this is Blender, yeah. Thanks, Ben. So I do need it to hit elsewhere as well. I feel like I'm coming to the end of the stream now. I like I've made something and I just have like 10 more minutes to spare, so I think it's worth like wrapping up. But that's what I think would be the next step, to integrate the light elsewhere in the scene as well. That would look better. You know, this is still an unsaved file. How crazy is that? Let's see. I'm not being a good role model for you guys, am I? Liquid light scene. Yeah. Hey, let's just spend the last like 10 minutes chatting, eh? If you have any questions, anything like that, or any ideas for this as well. What do you think about LiquidGen? I've never used it. It's GPU powered, right? So it's pretty quick liquid solver. Looks nice. I don't do much liquid, if I'm being honest. I don't do much simulation at all. I'm trying to get into Houdini, which has really good built-in simulation tools. And I feel like understanding it a bit better would make me better at geometry nodes as well. So I'm trying to get a little bit into that. Autosave for the win, yeah. I have autosave on 2 minutes. I think that's the default. But I started like working with some really huge packed files that I got from a client that had like multiple gigabytes of textures just baked in, and every time it would autosave, it froze the program for like 5 seconds, which gave me flashbacks to 3ds Max. I would do the same kind of thing. For what use are you making this? This is just for fun, or actually I do have a bit of an agenda behind it too. I want to gather all of these weird little effects into a little experimental short film. Not something narrative based, just something that would show you a bunch of effects you haven't seen before. I want to gather stuff that you haven't seen before. It's so rare these days to see something like properly new and novel, isn't it? It's like I feel like you've seen it all nowadays. It's so hard to see something new. I do. There's one thing though. I should show you guys this. There's one thing that's a it's an optical illusion I hadn't seen before, which makes your brain see a color that's stronger than what your monitor can show. I think you guys are really going to like this. I got this from Dynamite. Do you guys read Dynamite? He's an internet blogger. He does like rationalist blogging things. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so he made this, which is under dynamite.net slash, I'll give you the link in the chat. Here you go. So the idea here is, okay, everybody, stare at this and just stare at the white dot in the center. Okay? There's a timer on the left there. Don't look at that. But like in a few seconds, the circle is going to start to shrink. And around the edge of the circle, you're going to start to see a fairly strong color. Just do this with me. Just humor me for a second, okay? You gotta stare at this for a bit. Uh, Try not to blink too much. Try not to move your head, move your eyes. Just stare at the white dot in the center. You'll see like the edge of the circle becoming fairly blurry, like you can't really make out the edge, and it'll start shrinking in just a few seconds. This is the coolest optical illusion I've seen. I'm serious. Okay, now it's gonna start shrinking. How about that? Can you guys see that? It's a more intense cyan than your monitor can show. I think that's so cool. Uh, I somehow want to integrate that into my short film as well. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff I love. Like I'd never seen that before. Before this, and the website has some other presets as well. You can try to make it into other colors. It's great. Um, and yeah, I just love this. I love seeing weird new things. Learning Houdini will definitely make you better at geonodes. Concepts are almost the same. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah, you get more control with Houdini though. Um, like just getting into it. I'm a super beginner right now, but even now, you can see that like you get so much more control of just how the program deals with the fundamental parts. Blender just makes a bunch of decisions for you that Houdini doesn't. But I did recognize transferable skills from Substance Designer as well. I used to nerd Substance Designer, that was like my specialty. And going over to geometry nodes, a bunch of the same stuff, really. Um, Although, it's in 3 dimensions, so it's a bit different. Had to learn more vector math. I was never good at math in school, but I think if they showed me geometry nodes, I think I would like it a lot more. Houdini is crazy expensive, yeah, it is, but it's it's the best 3D software. I don't think that's controversial to say. Like, if you're the best 3D software, makes sense to get paid for it, right? Yeah, Grasshopper. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is also a procedural modeling toolkit, often used for architecture. I know in Rhino. How's Have you used Grasshopper at all? Do you know how it is compared to geometry nodes? If it's more powerful, I think you work more with NURBS, don't you? Yeah, you learn math because of Blender. I did too. I did too. I taught my little brother this too. He doesn't love school, I don't think. Um, and but he's getting into like 3D modeling. He's pretty good actually. And I was showing him like how he can add scales to his monsters using geometry nodes, and it's like, oh, you need this little mathematical function here. So maybe I think that sparked a little bit of interest in like, ooh, math can do some pretty cool stuff. I think it's a really good way of inspiring people. Like, if I had used math in school to like measure the difference from Earth to the moon or whatever, maybe that's not the best example, but like using it for something like interesting, I think that's a good way of inspiring kids. Or maybe kids can't really be inspired. I mean, being being in that room every day for that many years, maybe you just like really want to get out of there. Linear algebra videos from 3 Blue 1 Brown. I haven't watched those, but I really like that channel. He's amazing at teaching. I tried. He explained how neural networks worked at one point, and I tried replicating that in geometry nodes since that's like the only like coding environment I know. And No, I didn't get very close. I didn't get very close. It all stopped at like you need so much computing power. There's a reason they run on the GPU, and I couldn't get it to run efficiently on a GPU like multi-threaded. It would have to be calculated on the CPU, which was just way too slow to be able to train anything. Whole solar system planets can fit between the Earth and Moon distance. Yeah, I know. With those illustrations fool you, don't they? Because you can never like illustrate the solar system in the real scale, because you wouldn't see anything except the sun and maybe Jupiter, right? But probably not, because Jupiter's so far away from the sun too. Having a tangible result is the main power of learning from Blender, at least for me. Exactly. Yeah. And you get like an intuitive understanding of mathematical functions as well. Like you can see the effect of every number you plug in and what happens as you slide them about, right? So you can like see the effect of adding a modulo that creates a loop, right? Stuff like that. It's a really good way of getting an intuitive understanding of it. I really love geometry nodes. I think it's possibly the next best procedural modeling toolkit outside of Houdini at this point. Like after they added repeat zones and simulation nodes, possibly. I know for 3D Studio Max, you used to have Tyflow, which was just it was the system built by just one guy for procedural simulations, basically. Everyone who uses 3ds Max has Tyflow. Absolutely everybody. But they had a procedural modeling toolkit there too. Don't don't catch me saying too much nice stuff about 3D Studio Max though. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back. I'm a bit nostalgic to it. I would like to see how Cinema 4D is doing. Do any of you guys know Cinema 4D? Like I haven't. It was the first 3D software I learned, but I haven't used it in years. They used to be great at simulation and procedural animation, like animating a bunch of objects using effectors and stuff. I think that's still probably their like main thing. What's the issue with 3ds Max? Hard to say. It's it feels like an old software. It just you can feel the code from the 90s being still in there, in that things open up in weird layouts that are obviously like you have 10 buttons for what today would be just a slider. Um, it's very slow. Like it would take 5 minutes to open up the software if you have a couple plugins installed. It's very slow. It just feels kind of old. Like snapping. This will always confuse me. Like just turning on snapping, which works the exact same as in Blender, would just lag the whole scene if you have a decently big scene. Like you would get 1 frame per second just turning on snapping. Stuff like that. Um, it used to be great. It's just older, with old design decisions and a bunch of old code that's just hiding underneath the hood. Yeah, it has a modifier stack very similar to Blender. It does. Yeah, same kind of thing. Actually, they had a couple of modifiers that Blender don't have that I tried to replicate. I put them on Patreon. Just I think six modifiers that I miss from 3D Studio Max. There's a guy working on GPU simulations in Blender. He's called Luna Pictures, and the engine is called JFlow. Really? What's that like? Is it good? JFlow Alpha tutorial. Better shader. What should I? What should I click here? This looks cool. What system do you use to do these things? What do you mean? What are you referring to there? This is pretty cool. So is this like, is this one new simulation system built by this guy, which runs on GPU? That's great. Cool. Okay, guys. It's been 2 hours. We got to this point here. Should I have rendered it out so you could see the final animation while I was talking? Maybe. I'm not that pro at streaming yet, but I didn't crash my stream like last time, which is good. We can watch it one more time. I'm about to turn off now. Maybe go eat some lunch. This was fun though. I really enjoy streaming, talking to you guys. It's fun. This is where we got. I feel like it's a nice proof of concept. The design needs work, but it's fun. Next time, I want to do this again. I want to do some more trippy effects. I'll figure out what to do for next time. Maybe reverse perspective. I have a rig for that. It's really simple to make reverse perspective. But yeah. Okay, you guys, tune in next time. I'm gonna probably announce it about 2 hours before I go live, so whoever gets to join gets to join. If not, you can watch the recording afterwards. You guys have a great rest of the day, okay? And keep experimenting with stuff. Download Albus's Pyro solver. Have fun with it. I'll see you guys in the next stream, yeah? Take care, guys.